How did you come to get hold of a Lombard edition TR7?
It was my wife. She just loved it, and so that was keep my wife happy. I bought that TR7 in 1993, did quite a bit of work on it, put it onto electric fans and various things, and I put it on the road in 1995. It's been on the road over 30 years with us.
With Derek winging his way towards Bingley.
Sat there, said I'll be there at 1:30.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm sorry running a little bit late, but...
Oh, it's all right. Gives me a bit of time.
Paul's friend Chris is lending a helping hand with the TR7 removal.
Chris, when was the last time Paul used this car in anger, do you think?
The last time I remember being at a show with Paul was 2019, Burley and Wharfdale Cricket Club. It's not the easiest car to get in and out of, as you've seen from me, and it's impossible for Paul, sadly, now to do it. So, time for the car to go, find a new home, and hopefully somebody else will enjoy it.
Derek's arrived in Bingley to pick up Paul Wooding's TR7. But with a shared CV in Skoda sales, the little Triumph might have its nose pushed out.
I feel as though I know you because you are part of Skoda and everything.
Yeah, it was really good. We've done very well.
I still have people when I go to cafes now, patting me on the shoulder. Best cars ever bought.
Yeah,
Skoda.
yeah.
Looks like Derek's discovered a kindred spirit, or met his match.
It's nice to think you're preserving something now.
Yeah, very much so.
I think, and I know it's a TR7, but my wife loved the colour, I love the colour.
Yeah.
And we love the car. It's been everywhere.
And how long have you had it?
32 years. I bought it in 93 and I put it on the road in 95.
Running wise, she's okay?
Oh, she's super. Brand new petrol tank on it.
Right, yeah. But what have we got to aim for, Paul?
Near 4 as you can go.
We won't make 4. As long as you're happy at 3-ish, sort of.
Do the best you can.
Yeah,
and,
because that's where it's going to be, I can assure you. Give someone a chance to spend some money on it.
I just hope it goes to someone who drives it.
With 52,000 on the clock, Paul says the TR7 was one of a run of just 30 specials, made to commemorate the Lombard Rally.
I don't normally like cars jazzed up like this, and probably you don't, but they do suit it, don't they, really?
Well, I can assure you, Derek, that if there's a World Cup on and England are playing, you drive round the roads, the pubs will all out there and be waving you and cheering you as you go past.
I'm sure they would be, yeah. Like the little model.
Yes.
So, Derek, this would have been done then for dealers to promote the brand, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure. No doubt an awful lot of the dealers made them up themselves, obviously. There could be 31 or could be 41, but it's nice to think this is one of the original batch.
There's a premium age for getting in and out of a TR7, and this isn't it.
So you've got in and you're not getting out to check whether...
Not until I park it up on that wagon, I'm not. I ain't getting out again, and then back in again, and then back out again.
So I've got to do this. Right, Derek, right.
We're there, mate.
Also leaving the garage is a blast from the past that looks like it's from the Cold War.
Derek, what's this that's going on there?
This is a Krypton tuner.
Not to be confused with a superhero's home planet, a Krypton tuner was the first electronic engine tuning system. Before ECUs were invented, back in the day, if you wanted your motor to move faster, budding Nigel Mansells would book their car into a session with this high-tech wizardry.
If it'll go on, load it.
What do we need that for with the TR7?
Keep the bloody thing running. No one knows how to work them now anyway. I'll be perfectly honest, you know. There weren't that many blokes out there, me included, that knew how to work the rotten things in the first place. They were all right for like maybe doing the dwell angle or something like that, you know, but other than that, I hardly use them at all.
So the chances of that selling, Derek?
0. But they do look good while they're working, I must admit.
Will it be working when you get back?
I wouldn't put money on it being there when I get back. It will be. It's pretty tight in there, that bit of wood. I can't see that. I can't see that going anywhere. She'll be right. Well, I'm going to love and leave you. And thanks for your kindness, and I'll see you again.
Back in Planet Pickering, the special edition TR7 has landed.
It'll make it go, innit? It wants a bit of work, though. It wants a lot of work, to be fair. If it's right money, it'll sell, won't it?
And the mysterious Krypton tuner seems to be taking root in its new home.
That looks like something straight out of Wallace and Gromit, doesn't it?
I've got a question about a piece of equipment for you.
Oh, God, what equipment?
A Krypton tuner.
A what?
It would be great, wouldn't it, as a prop on a science fiction thing? Yeah, no, that's absolutely great, that. There's technology in there, lads.
What's a Krypton tuner?
Something to tune sound.
You took one off at back of your lorry with your granddad.
Oh, that thing, yeah, I remember it, yeah.
What's that?
A load of rubbish.
Why'd he fetch it in?
Because it's Grandad.
But the thing is, if that was there, what else has he brought? And where is it?
When was the last time you, yourself, utilised a Krypton tuner?
Never used anything like that. I used these and these.
Tuning an engine, it's all about your, what do they say in physics? Suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
Krypton tuner, Krypton tuner, whatever you want to call them, we never ever used them.
Meanwhile, outside in the yard, Dave is in two minds about the TR7.
Marmite car, aren't they? Complete Marmite car. I haven't read the book on TR7s. I don't intend to read the book on TR7s, but there was mention of one or two limited editions, but it's all a little bit cloak and dagger. And I think there's some suggestion that the try before you buy cars had a bit of bling on them, you know, to sort of lean towards the motorsport side of things, which is possibly what we've got here. I like them, they're different. Would I have one over an MGB? Do you know what? I probably would, because they're different, aren't they? But then I wouldn't fight you for it. No, I wouldn't fight you for it. If there wasn't this potential link with the limited edition, the value of the car is probably around £1,500. Will the link to the limited double that or more? Not sure. Not confident. And if there was 10, 20, 30, there might only be now 5, 10 or 15 left. So in which case, there is some interest in it, isn't there? But it still wants a fair bit of restoration, the car. In fact, it wants a lot of restoration. And as Forrest Gump says, I mean, that's all I've got to say about that.
Triumph TR7, here we go. As far as we're aware, it's one of a limited edition run. We're already off the 2000, 22, 2004, 26, 26 at Alan. Is he all right with that? 26, 2006, 28, 28, 3,000 he says, on sale, £3,200, 3,200, 3,400 he says, £3,600. Do you want 3,700? 3,600. We have to move on. 3,007. 3,700 he says. For the third and last time, looking round.
I'm pleased it made a little bit above 3.5. It's just nice, like, you know.
You've got it. 370 is yours. Brilliant.
I was 16 years of age at the time, worked in a wee garage, and I seen one and I thought they were pretty awesome looking, and I thought one of these days I would love to have one of them.
For Eric Brewster, owning the 1976 TR7's a dream come true, and it's all down to a deal with his wife.
We ended up here because I decided to retire. It was just time to sell up and look somewhere different. The wife loved here. I'd say it's on the conditions that I can get my dream car. She was fine with that. She got what she wanted here. Lovely, peaceful, quiet. I got the dream car, and we moved here to Portaferry.
When Eric spotted the car up for auction, he knew that at long last he'd met his perfect match.
Love at first sight. So it was, when I seen it, as I say, I've always loved them, but the extra bonus on it was a wee limited edition one. I was looking for just any Triumph TR7, but it came with a bit of history with it. Limited edition, there was only 30 of them, I believe, made, and this particular one is number 2 off the production line. I got it transported over and sent to Belfast. I still hadn't seen the car, but I sent a mechanic up to collect it for me and take it to his garage, do any essential work that it needed. Work done so far is brakes, discs, pads, mechanical ways, nothing on the engine, body ways, blasted down, primered, 3 coats of paint, waxed, polished, finished. The whole car had a full paint job. The owner that owned this before myself, Paul Whitting, and his wife, she didn't like the interior of the car, so he took off the original door panels and got ones made in Scottish tartan. I've replaced the Scottish tartan ones with the originals, but still have the Scottish tartan ones in the garage. These are the Scottish tartan ones that he got made. Not that I didn't like them, I just wanted to put the originals back on with it to go with the rest of it. I like the style of the car, just the size of them. Nose way down and short back. They're only very small inside, only 2 seats, more or less like a little sports car. Getting down into them, you're low level, like you're on the ground. It actually is quite comfortable to drive. Yeah, plans for the car are I'll take it to all classic shows that are on that I can get to. It'll be out on the road. Nice weekend, sunny weather, dries, wet weather. It'll not be just stored to be put away in a garage. It'll be out and frequently driven. Like.